What's going on, guys? Bringing you another update video. I haven't done too much. I've been pretty much focusing on certain more advanced, more complicated rather, things. And a bit of tidying as well. So I'll show you what I've done with the whole, this here material thingy right here. Is I've put it in a function inside my structure parent blueprint, and here's all the maths and usual. All you gotta do is pass the static mesh, and it'll automatically have find the final material as they're actually already here, as the child class gets these when it's made. I've also been playing around with this background. I'm going to increase the scale quite a bit. That's how big the sun is going to be. And this here is meant to be Mars, although this probably will be the location of Mercury. And the planets are going to be, instead of on the same plane, there will be 1,100 Unreal units, which is about, it's about a meter, I think, lower. Of course, you can, mess around with the values, so eventually I could make it so, I suppose, that one Unreal unit is equal to, say, 1,000 kilometers. I'm pretty sure you can do that. I hope you can, although I don't really think it even matters too much. So I'm not using any kind of gravity that comes with the engine. I'm going to use a custom gravity, which will pretty much, what I'm thinking on how it will work is a giant image, like a normal map, and you have each pixel represents a vector, because each pixel has an RGB value, red, green, and blue, which can be translated to X, Y, and Z. And then the value, depending on the value of the pixel, depends on the vector that the object will move in that area, and it will interpolate between whatever areas. And hopefully I'll be able to implement some kind of Lagrange points, basically points in space where the forces pulling from various bodies kind of neutralize each other, so you're just kind of stuck there. There's several around the Earth. There's one, I'm not sure if there's one for every planet, at least, but I imagine so. So you could end up with like a complicated system of Lagrange points. But mostly what I've been doing is messing about with the landscape in order to make it work the way I want it to. So if I go into the gravity scape, which is this grid, the idea is this grid will roughly represent the gravity of the area. And so here, why does it always compile when I come into this? So we have our location, and then we do a bunch of stuff that kind of creates this line, which what angle are we at? Oh, here we are. There. So as you can see, you have another one up here, and so on and so forth. Another square, I mean. You'll have a grid, and that, which is applied to the landscape. Now on top of that, I've also got this here, height displacement, which utilizes the world position offset modifier. Go into here, which is just a bunch of things connected to generate various different points in world space, mind you, where it will be displaced downwards in a kind of gradient, a circular gradient style. Now I will show you that now. I've also made it so that when you zoom out, the actual grid size changes as well as its color. So there we go, blue, and zoom out more, have a pinky, and you can start seeing the displacement here. And there is that issue, I'm not too sure why that happens, and in red, which is the largest. I've also need to make it so that the scroll, the movement, when you're zoomed out, scales as well. But as you can see, if I zoom in, it'll be easier to see it. it actually bends down, as opposed to not in the game where it's just flat. And it pretty much, I've set it up so all the main bodies in the system use it. Now if we zoom out, we see poor little Mars, a bit too close to the sun. We zoom in, we should be able to see it a bit better. You can see a little bump, teeny little bump. A bit more pronounced now as the grid's getting smaller and smaller. There you go. There's a way to render this in wireframe in-game. It would be much easier. At the moment, I'm not too sure. Of course, there is this here mode, but you don't actually see it. And it's great thing about using a landscape for that method is the LOD changes, so I don't have to worry about meshes, and it's going to be absolutely huge as well. Although that said, I think I'll be able to use, if I apply this test material to that, you should be able to see it. Ah, yeah. It's working, although you can't, it's hard to see it. But there you go. There's the displacement, and a smaller displacement right there. Because what I do is I create a test version of whatever I'm trying to achieve, and then I implement it fully with make it nice and neat as well. So that's all I've really been working on. Next thing I'm going to work on is so that when you build a structure, that or that, as you can see, they're both working now the way I want them to. When you build one of the structures and then you click on it, another kind of construction options will appear, or in the case of research options or research tab or whatever, it's here. Construction options will appear, so you can build whatever units you want to build, and yeah, and then spawn them in front. Then after that, not too sure what I'll work on, but it's a work in progress. Well, I really wish I knew how to stop that. See, what I understand is that it uses the original bounds before the displacement. So technically, the bit above isn't loaded yet because that bit is not necessarily within far enough bounds. So you can see it's just slightly outside, so it doesn't need to be loaded. And then it needs to be. So what I need to do is actually somehow extend it beyond the camera. And I imagine that would sort any issues. Although I don't know how much I'd have to extend it. I suppose the maximum amount would be the maximum amount seen. If we zoom out. No, if we zoom out, it's actually the best. Never mind. Let's try moving in. Oh, it seems to get worse as you zoom in. Okay. So, which is about that much. So, the distance from there to the top, kind of I'd need to do. So yeah, a little bit of progress, not too much. I'm having fun, although it can be annoying when I hit a roadblock, as always. So yeah, thank you guys for watching. Ryan out.